say mountain, mountain, mountain.
Fire, what you saying?
Red. That's right, you know.
Serious thing. We are here back in the studio, Baldhead and the Dread Podcast. Have to remind the people, make sure you get your tickets to Groundings with my brothers and sisters, Holistic Health Conference in Philadelphia. I know some people are interested and you can't make it. Make a donation, sponsor a ticket. We'll give you a shout out at the show. To do that, there is a email there, info@inevernewtv.com if you want to give any form of donation or sponsor a ticket. Fire, what reason about today?
Yes, sir. Well, today we're reasoning about the concept of loyalty. And does loyalty have an expiration date? I think the loyalty on a whole is a misconstrued concept. And we need to break it down and talk about certain detriments into the concept of being loyal, you know?
Serious thing. Farah, I'd love if you could start this one and kind of elaborate why you think it's kind of a misunderstood concept.
It's a big misconstrued concept because I think it's all it includes tale of selfishness most of the times. Loyalty is just being used. It's being used as a word as opposed to being a characteristics that's actually carried out because most people do things for you in seeking a favor in return, probably not in the short term, but in the long run. And then if you can match up to certain of those expectations from people, it's almost like you fail them or you're disloyal because you should have been loyal or should be there for them at any given moment, that even if it means stretching above your means and above what your skill set, coming out of your comfort zone to a certain extent. And naturally, if you have a friend or family and they need something, it's cool to come out of your comfort zone to a certain level because especially if they would do that for you. But what we're talking about in this regards now, it's about like dropping every single thing that you have to do, neglecting yourself and your core construct just to meet the needs of this person because they've done something for you in the past. And I feel like that is a whole unfair type of connotation that most people have. So loyalty is really misconstrued from that perspective, you know?
And the way you're breaking it down is, and I've observed this, it sounds like an abusive relationship.
Very.
Tell you the truth, you know, because I'm telling you,
very.
I've experienced. Now, when you analyze this loyalty thing, because you know what's so wild is that the people that want the most back haven't really done anything. This man laughing, you know. The people who want the most back haven't really done anything. And like, I know personally, man, I've been loyal to a fault. I don't know if it's that like, I don't know if it's an insecurity thing early on, but it's definitely a flaw for me, Fire. Like I had this like loyalty to the ones I believe I rock with, but then I realized they wasn't really rocking with me, Fire. You know what I'm saying? Yo, we gotta be truthful when you really analyze the thing. You come like exploitation and people taking advantage of you. So we had to kick back. Come be a part of history and experience the sharing of wisdom from some of the most brilliant thought leaders in our community. Come see Muda Baruka, Styles P, Nori Muhammad, Lawrence Haja, Dr. Dorothy Holly, Dejaz Mach Kwasi, Deborah Hines, and Midwife Asasia impart their wisdom at Groundings with my brothers and sisters, a holistic health conference. A plant-based breakfast and lunch are included. Looking forward to seeing you there. But before we continue this reasoning, I think there's a key component we need to talk on before we move forward, right? This idea of long-term friendship. All right. So, you know, a lot of times you see it in movies too and TV shows, and maybe they molded us with this idea, but you grew up with someone, right? And, you know, you grow apart, whether through different behaviors or just time and space. But there's this idea that you still have this obligation to this particular person. Now, I'm not saying it can't be a vibe there, but the only issue I have that, and I've experienced it in my personal life, is that you don't know me. I'm a totally different person from the person that you knew. I'm not even sure if you would like me in my present state, or we have nothing to connect and vibe on. The things that we connected on, the things we used to build on, the conversations we used to have, I don't have those anymore. So I'm not even sure, and a lot of times they're not, but they don't even like the person that I am, or they're not comfortable around the person that you may become. So this is the next aspect that comes into the loyalty thing, is just like you're looking for something from someone who's not even that person again, whether for good or bad.
Yeah. Oftentimes it's almost like when the concept of loyalty is brought up, it's supposed to be it's supposedly brought up as a guilt trip.
Facts.
Guilt trip, like people when you feel like, okay, you're going outside of what you are, so you don't stand on any principle anymore. And not because you don't do a task to somebody at this given moment means it mean you don't stand on principle anymore. It just means that you're not comfortable doing that task. And that task which is only beneficial to them, not again,
Or you're not able to fight.
or you're not able. I think that is even the big portion in the whole thing. You're not able to do it, but because of these type of things that they hold over your head, like the basic ones they hold over your head, as you mentioned, we grow up together.
Yeah,
this is the family thing. Are we supposed to be friends? But as you mentioned, like when you think about the whole evolution of a human being, and especially a progressive person, a person who really move from stage to stage, and this person is still stagnant and at that very small level and try to rope you in, it's almost like they're trying to bring you back to a stage where you already evolved from, already grew from, and bring you back down to that level. So we have to be careful of that. And then because of the conscience now, if you is a conscientious person now, they ride on that conscience, and riding on that conscience now make you feel guilty. And because you feel guilty now, you automatically bring yourself back to that lower level which you try so hard to get out of, just because you want to prove that you're loyal, when that's not really loyalty. It's a misconstrued loyalty again. You know?
And I, hopefully you can share your things in the chat, but I want to talk about the different levels of loyalty, because this seems to be another problem, right? I see men, I can't talk about them, I say men. I see men that are more loyal to their friends than their family. I've seen men who are more loyal to their born family than their wife and kids. Then you see men who are more loyal to their wife and kids than their family, right? What do you think is a balance in that whole vibe? Take out, I don't know why they're more loyal to their male friends than their family. So that's a red flag, tell you the truth. I don't know what that's about. But I see a lot of schisms within relationships, because on one side, the wife and the kid feel like the man is being more loyal to his parents, or brother and sister, cousins. Then at one token now, the parents, brother, sister, cousins cussing them, grandparents, because they feel he's more loyal to the wife and kid. But the way I view the thing is that, and D Brown talk about this fight. I guess the Bible talk about it. But once a man married, wife and kid come first. That's how I pre it. Right?
Depends on the situation too, because that I feel like the conversation is it always vague or missing some points too, and it depends on the situation, because there are some instances where, first and foremost, we know the family that you create naturally.
Fact.
You're around them more. You set the tone. You're working for set them up that way, and then there's a trickle down effect that goes to the whole family for developing you as an individual. But it comes with a balance, and then it's a whole bunch of meism go taking place in the whole sphere, because remember, you have your family, they have their intention.
Yeah.
The family you come from, they have their intention. You have your family, you create. Sometimes your partner have their own intention, your youth have their intention, and drag you away from their thing. So vibe. I feel like the key thing is to understand, like, who am I? Once you understand who you are, what do I stand for? What do I represent? And then even beyond that, what can I bring to the table? Because as you mentioned it earlier, it's like, what you can do, like, I can't do this that you're asking of me. I can't do this.
Yeah. You
realize, so this now what that you're asking of me is taking me out of myself. And if that to you seems like it's a sense of disloyalty, then I'm sorry, I don't know how to really meet your needs or suit you towards that, because I have a mission to fulfill.
And this modern society kind of makes this idea of loyalty complicated. The reason I say people live so far from each other. Mm-hmm. So prior to something that was easy to do, to go check your mother every day or check your father every day. Come be a part of history and experience the sharing of wisdom from some of the most brilliant thought leaders in our community. Come see Muda Baruka, Styles P, Nori Muhammad, Lawrence Haja, Dr. Dorothy Holly, Dejaz Mach Kwasi, Deborah Hines, and Midwife Asasia impart their wisdom at Groundings with My Brothers and Sisters, a holistic health conference. A plant-based breakfast and lunch are included. Looking forward to seeing you there. Can't really, because you live in another state or another country. You can call, but it's not the same energy as checking on them, or bringing food to them, that type of energy. It's like, it's more that has to be done to provide that service to them. And I think that what the basis of loyalty is based on things that happen. That's where we're running into problems, far right. A lot of the concepts we have about life, a lot of the ideas we have about life are based on, like my wife likes to say, are archaic things.
Yeah.
Our understanding of life and how we move in life has not evolved with modern life.
Yeah.
And I think we're not analyzing like the work schedules, even family structures, because my grandmother lived downstairs from me. My grandparents lived downstairs from me.
Yeah.
So that's I saw my grandmother every day downstairs, like walk down some
extended
steps.
family vibration.
Right? But for the average person, that's not the case because people live all over the place. Then two, the grandparent is working more than my grandmother had to work. She could do a couple part-time gigs to get money in her pocket. She didn't have to work a full-time job.
Yeah.
So she had more time to give and more support to give.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying, Farah?
No,
so like
really,
all these things,
you get more extended now. So
too extended, and it puts
for me, too much needs now across the board. Everybody are depend upon your energy or the contribution as a piece of loyalty towards their mission. And now it take away you from yours. So by the time you extend all of these different pieces what you have for yourself.
Then the next thing too, some people can relate, listen to this, especially if you're the more, I don't want to say progressive, but more responsible person in the family that gets, the responsible person in the family gets all the responsibilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can't cater to them as you did back in the day because one, the money's tighter. You get what I'm saying? You don't have as much expendable income as they did in previous generations around the same income. More bills. And I'm really on that distance fight. I think this living apart thing is really causing a strain on the family and relationships because a lot of people now with their kids, they have no help. That's the whole point of daycare. If you really think about it, daycare not supposed to exist. You really break it down. You get what I'm saying? Because the existence of daycare rests on the fact that you have to pay someone to watch your child. There's no one there to watch your child. You're literally working to pay someone to watch your child. Right?
True. I know that.
And in foundation days, that wasn't the case. Someone was there, extra, whether in the house or close up the street or even a neighbor. Mm-hmm. But that whole dynamic has changed. And I think that's what's really causing the problems. And it's almost changing the definitions of the words we use, especially loyalty.
Mm-hmm. Fox.
Because we spoke about this earlier in regards to loyalty, right, Farai? And you can see how people's loyalty has declined in every aspect of our life. Fight, ain't nobody business with no dating. You know what I'm saying? Anything, they jump and ship, they out the window. We already know corporations aren't loyal to people. People aren't loyal to that aspect. Even that loyalty to yourself. We spoke about this in the previous reason. I got to find it and put it in the link. But that whole that whole commitment to something is just declining in our society.
Yeah. The whole commitment thing is a serious thing. And I want to really tell people, the first rule of nature is to preserve oneself.
Facts.
So when we talk about loyalty, you have to be loyal to yourself. And what does it really mean to be loyal to yourself? One, it means you have to take care of yourself. You have to preserve your body, preserve your mental space, preserve all the things that matters to you so that you can have a good outlook of the world based on the certain inputs that went into yourself. That routine, that structured routine, self-care type of vibes is very essential for you to remain loyal to yourself. This core that continues to bring you every single day. Now, when we think about transitioning from that phase to dealing or being loyal to other people, there's one particular thing where once we're dealing with loyalty, we have to talk about this. Reciprocity. That's very important. And I feel like
what you say is not a one-way street.
It's not a one-way street. It can't be.
That's what you say. That's what
you
say.
It's not about the actual concept, the actual reality of the concept and not what people make it out to be.
That's what I'm saying. I know what the concept is, but I'm talking about how it's practiced. Continue, Farah.
Yeah.
Continue.
Because that reciprocity has to be there because full thing, if you overextend yourself, at least a once or a once in a blue moon out of based on a situation, based on the ties that you have with a person from a certain time, that person's supposed to be able to extend themselves and they shouldn't be just reaching out just because they want something from you. So it needs to be balanced. And sometimes loyalty even mean that you tell a person no, because how can you be loyal to a person when you don't even care about their well-being. Anybody that you are being loyal to, you have to care about their well-being. So just like an instance, you think about in the gangster world, how you think most youth go to prison on the basis of loyalty, you know, in their street code way, you know. Okay, you know, my friend come and tell me that a man cross the street. Just shoot off him. Him don't think about the consequences or think about the strategy that need for going to any of this thing. Him say, okay, I'm being loyal. So here what? I'm going to grab a gun and I'm going to shoot that person because they basically violate a person who I am loyal to. And where does that loyalty get you? Was this loyalty worth it? Was that the right way to go about it? See, so much different ways now we start tangle up the concept of loyalty, not understanding that reciprocity after the end of the whole thing.
I'm glad you gave that example because that really ties into that reciprocity. Because after that person kills that person and he's sitting in prison, there's not much loyalty there.
None.
I want to jump back on something you just said, Fire, which was very important. I hope that people listen to this one. The word no.
Exactly.
You have to learn how to tell people no. Fire. People will burn you out and use you right to the ground. I think it's more selfless to say no than selfish.
Fox. In some aspect.
No, listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying, Farah. The reason I say that is that a lot of times people don't want to say no because they're scared of the
how it may look.
How it may look, or they're not confident in the relationship and they don't know how people react. So you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're not really preying what's best for them. They're more concerned about like this person's reaction in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Not
As
even
opposed to the effect of the situation.
Not even thinking about themselves. You have to learn to tell Farah, you have to learn to tell people no. I do it all the time. It's the greatest thing, Fire. No, I can't do it. You don't have to do it in a harsh way. You just can't do it. Why are you taking on so much things stressing out yourself, Fire? Fire, people will use you to the ground. You know? People out here are wicked now. Yeah. They're going to use you and use you and use you and use you dry. You have to tell people no.
Yeah. Fox.
You have to be realistic with yourself and what's going on. People take up too much things and they don't get done. They're stressing out themselves. They have this big workload. And these people you doing it for, like, they don't even care about you. They're just using you. And I think we probably should have started off this reasoning in regards to identifying who's using you.
Mm-hmm.
Who's taking advantage of you. Like, you got to do a little history check to see the interaction with that person. Is there any reciprocity there? Yeah. And when I say these things, it's not saying you can't help people, Fire. We're not saying that. But at the same token, you have to identify when a person is using, constantly asking you for stuff, constantly wanting stuff from you. And there's nothing in return.
Yeah, you have to assess the situation to the best of your benefit, of your knowledge and best of your benefit. Because you see, sometimes I feel like there's instances though where you realize somebody is not loyal, but due to your loyalty for them,
give them a strength.
You give them a strength.
Facts.
Knowing that this definitely won't be
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they won't give me back this in return, but here one now, because it's not everything you're doing for something in return, but it's just a principle of knowing that life has to be a balance. And when we're thinking about people that we want to deal with or communicate with, we would hope that those people would have the same intention for us that we have for them. Because that's the ideal situation. It's not always realistic, but that's the ideal situation. I have good intention for you. I want to see you strive, want to see you do better. So, and you would have good intentions for me. I want to see me strive and do better. So that's how we reciprocate the actual feeling and the vibration by knowing that, hey, if I can do this and it's within my reach, I'll tackle this for you. But just know that sometimes in certain instances, you already see the direction that things are going.
See the direction.
You just give one a strength and know, all right, so after this, you be real. Because you see, being real is a thing that most people underestimate, you know.
Facts.
Because people always think about how it will look in the eyes of he or she, but don't understand that.
Flopping out themselves, you know.
It really flop you out and make you become stagnant after a time, because we have to see ourselves as like a phone we would have charge. Because once the phone battery die, we put it on the charger and we have to charge it up back. That's how we have to see our body and our mental space for it. The mental, you see this draining thing? And when people drain you over and over again and then you don't have no energy to put in your mission, that's one of the biggest detriments of anything that you can do at all. And I feel like most people need to think about that. The first rule of nature is to preserve oneself. You can't go around that.
I want to give one example for people. You're talking about like filtering people, right?
Yeah.
I have people that call my WhatsApp with this money thing all the time, right?
All right.
Fire, you see when I can't give them no money, you know, they cuss me like a dog, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that.
Mm-hmm.
They disregard how much money I done sent down there and gave them over the years. When I have it and when I don't have it.
Yes, you bring a point. You bring a next point I want to make to the forefront with the example, you know? And this is perfect segue for it too, because it's the loyalty to most people, talking about the misconstrued concept of loyalty, to most people is not what you can do for them. It's what you can do for them now.
Facts.
Because it don't matter if you went out of your way, took $500 out of your savings and send it to somebody to make sure that the youth can go to school or whatnot.
Facts.
It's not about that. That was last month. What can you do for me now? So you're no longer loyal because you never went into your savings account and supported their need at this moment. So it's what you can do for me now. And I feel like that's become a cultural thing.
And they could care less what's going on in your life, fire.
Care man.
Now I experienced this because I had to tone. We had this kind. I had to tone it down with people if I had in. You just hear sound people cussing you like a dog, and I say it is what it is because it's always been a one-way street.
Always.
Me doing and nothing in return. Yeah. Serious thing. But for those listening, man, we do encourage you to analyze your relationships with people because everything not airy as you think. And when you really take a stock and see behaviors, you may figure out like, man, I'm kind of being used. You may be loyal to others who aren't loyal to you. And I think those who are loyal to you, we ask that you nurture those relationships and maintain those relationships. But if you truly identify that like people just are using you, it's okay. Fire, I don't know. You know what's so wild to me? This is the last thing I want to say. I remember this growing up. I never understood these relationships where people hang around with each other and argue and fight all the time and talk about each other. That is not a healthy relationship or friendship. So if you're arguing with somebody, fight and get to the point you're about to fight, you probably don't need to interact with this person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a wicked situation. And not because somebody did something for you that benefit or boosted your life, mean that whenever it's like you have this thing big dark cloud over your head with a whole heap of rain where you have to overextend yourself beyond certain reach. Because if that person really did something for you on a genuine basis, and they link you for a favor and understand that this favor can't be carried out by you now, if they are truly genuine, they would understand that. They wouldn't feel no way.
Yeah. Serious thing.